This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everyone. This is for licensed massage therapists. And if you've been thinking about upping your game, and maybe it's been in the back of your mind to address a population that really does need your help, and that is a senior population, this is absolutely for you. But I do believe if you are a massage therapist, or even if you know one, there's going to be nuggets of information here that can be used broadly, specifically the business model end of it. Many massage therapists may work for a spa or company, institution, and then decide, I'm going to do my own thing. And that can be a little unnerving sometimes. We're going to talk about that, especially collecting payment and how that all works. And she is a licensed massage therapist and author and also educator at Daybreak Geriatric Massage Institute. So much insight she's provided on this line of work, and especially addressing a part of our population that is growing exponentially, the senior population. She's our professional of the year. Dawn Casaglione is back with us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Steve. How are you?
Good. Yeah, lots to consider here. I don't even know where you want to begin. We were talking about the payment portion of it and how even that works. Where do we start?
Well, whenever there is someone interested in geriatric massage, and as you said, a lot of this will apply to other modalities as well. But the first thing they're going to look at is sort of, how am I going to establish this business? Am I going to work full-time or part-time? Am I going to be on call only, where you go out to houses, on appointment basis? And then you could say, all right, I know how much I want to work, but where do I want to work? Do I want to work in homes? Do I want to work at assisted living facilities, retirement communities, senior centers? We talked a little bit about that before together as well. And once you figure that out, that kind of determines for you how the money will get to you. Okay. And I know money is always, a sticky conversation for a lot of people. How do I handle the record keeping, and how do I make sure that I'm getting paid? Do I have to be in contact with all these families, or does the facility pay me even though I'm, independent contractor? So a lot of those questions can feel scary at first, but really they don't have to be. So I thought maybe today we would just talk about, the outline that you can follow. That's fairly easy, as long as you know what you're after and how you want to receive your information from families or the clients themselves if they're still cognitively able.
It's a little unnerving because many of us aren't business people. So when you look at all of this, like, how do I do that? Or how do, taxes and payment. And I get it, because I'm a small business owner. In the beginning, I don't know what I was doing. Like I used to make my invoices on Microsoft Word. Yeah, the record keeping was ridiculous. I'm talking, this is going back, 15, 20 years ago. But I wanted it to look professional. So I generated on that. But I got the job done. What should somebody consider when they're looking to go off on their own or begin on their own when it comes to the line of work of massage?
Okay, so if you are a massage therapist and you're looking to have your own business of geriatric clients or those with degenerative illness, there are certain places you will find them rather than at a spa situation, for instance. So often they'll be on hospice care, or they'll just still live in their home with a caregiver, or they'll be at some of these various retirement communities.
Sure.
And so the first thing we need to figure out is, okay, I know as a business owner, I need to account for my income and expenses. We just go to the basics and we just say, okay, economics. Okay, there's money coming in and there's money going out. How do I keep track of that for taxes? And how do I make sure that money comes to me and make sure everyone's happy in the process? Because a lot of times there's not like a secretary involved or an assistant. You're kind of your own person, and they'll call your cell phone to make an appointment with you, type of thing, if you're independent.
Mm-hmm.
So if we just look at income and expenses, it's important to know how to get it done and then how to record it so that when tax time comes, you're not stressed out, you're not forgetting things, you're not wondering what you should report, and so forth. So let's just talk about that first. We'll talk about taxes and get that out of the way because people hate that.
Sure.
It's
true.
It's
true.
Stressful. Yeah. So taxes, it used to be that more itemization was taking place in the area of like your vehicle. Okay, I have to take my vehicle to get to my clients. So my car should be a write-off. Should it be a portion of a car payment? Should it be, do I keep track of all the maintenance, billing and stuff like that I've had done to my car, oil changes, whatever, brakes, tires? No. IRS says, nope, we're not going to worry about that. When it comes to your vehicle, all they want to know is how many miles you have driven for business purposes only. So that makes sense. We're going to keep track of miles. So if you call for a massage and I'm driving to your home or your facility or wherever you live, there's a certain number of miles to get there, and it's the same coming back home. So I've got a round trip. So if you're 5 miles away, I'm going to say 10 miles every time I go see Steve. And that makes it nice and easy too, because if you just have a list, even I'm going to go this far, even if you're a paper and pencil person, or if you're a Microsoft Word person, or if you're Excel spreadsheet, etc., and on up the ladder, all of this can be done easily because once you plug in that number, it's the same number every time I come to see you. It's 10 miles round trip. So that makes that portion of it easy.
Sure.
The other tax categories, I have a great list that I've been compiling ever since I went to the tax professional 20 years ago, and they said, well, what about this? Did you keep track of this? And so I sort of created my own thing that massage therapists would have to, report for. So you have things like, supplies and tuition for classes you might take, tools that you might purchase, equipment that you might purchase, a massage table, a bolster. But then the tax folks said, it would kind of be cool if you could break down the category of supplies when you get to that one. And I said, okay, how come? And they said, well, you'll have office supplies like paper and staples and printer ink, but then you'll have professional supplies like lotions and things that you use up in your business, and not so much in the office part, but actually in the massage room. And so I began to see how breaking them down into different categories was a good thing. And the reason they do this is that when you're in your tax appointment, they might say, okay, let's see, cleaning supplies or laundry soap to do all those sheets and stuff. Let's put that total over in this category and it'll help things balance out. So maybe you won't owe the government something. Maybe it'll, break even. Maybe you'll get a return. As long as you're, fastidious with your notes, just bring the records and then hand them over. And it becomes an easy thing because now even if you have a shoebox at home for all of your receipts, and then the night before you go to taxes, you just say, oh, this one supplies uniform, this one supplies professional, this one supplies office. And all of a sudden you've got this easy system that you can just hand over to the tax professional.
So I want to add here, because this is what I learned. I am not the tax professional, disclaimer, but this is what I heard last year and the year before, that the IRS wants receipts. You can't submit your credit card statement. It needs to be a hard receipt. So whether you get, picked up supplies at the store, you had that receipt, or you bought something online, print out the receipt. It can't be a credit card statement. We just can't rely on that. That's what I heard. I hear it a number of times,
Oh,
so I'm passing that on.
that's good information. I hadn't heard that. But I am very in favor of, yep, just say yes, I'd like the receipt, please.
Yep.
You know, and even if it's
Even
an
with gas.
email,
I'm sorry, I forgot. Even
yes,
gas, because you're at the pump, and when you're done, a lot of times on the screen it says, "Would you like a receipt?" Hit yes.
yes, hit yes. That's really good advice too. I didn't really think about that. That's great because we're kind of getting used to that thing where, oh, my credit card will categorize groceries,
Yep.
gasoline. And if we can't rely on that, that's going to be even more important to have that shoebox of receipts.
hmm And of
Very
course, there's
good.
apps where you can scan the receipt in. I believe some of them do it for free, up to a certain point. But, if you want to go that route, as soon as you get that receipt, let's say from the gas pump, scan it in. It looks at everything. It a lot of times it puts it in a category. You can figure out that it's a gas receipt. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. I should walk the walk and talk the talk. I've downloaded one. That was a year ago. I haven't used it yet. I need to get back
Hmm.
on that because it's so much easier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So, but in your same vein of thought there, it's so much easier, but be careful of, all the AI and the new electronic offerings and that credit card statement. The best case scenario is that shoebox of receipts, whether you
It's
scan it
it's
in or, yeah,
it's so ridiculous and old school, but it is a record, a hard copy record of what's going on.
right. Yeah, yeah. So, and I make it easier on myself before tax day because I don't just throw them in a shoebox. If I'm busy, I can throw them in the shoebox, but I have an envelope for each category. So it's just as easy for me to go, oh, let's see, oh, this is the envelope, throw it in there, put all the envelopes in the shoebox. So end of year, you don't have to do any sorting either. It's already done for you.
Thank you for
Yeah.
that reminder, and I'm going to start doing that. And if I got up and went into that office over there, you would see a manila envelope. I can't even close it. It's like it's
Yeah.
stuffed with receipts, and I come back
Oh,
from the gas station or lunch or whatever, and then I pop, shove it. I mean, I need to get into a system. You're spot on with that. And duh, I never even thought of that. All it takes is a
yeah.
couple of envelopes and just throw it in
Yeah.
there. And then on
Right.
the back end, as it's getting close to tax season, you don't have to worry about that stuff.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. So that's awfully nice. So that has to do with all of your outgoing money, things that you spend. What about the incoming money? So now we're looking at, the fees that you charge for your massage. How do you get that money into your account? And without feeling like, you're Guido and you're going to break their legs if they don't pay by a certain date. How do I handle all this without, an
Mm.
office staff person?
Hmm.
So it's it's a little bit easier in some aspects and a little bit, I don't know, maybe difficult. Just getting used to it on the other end that we are so electronic these days. So one of my first clients who wanted to pay electronically was not the child of a loved one. It was a 95-year-old. And I said, how did you want to handle that today? Do you want me to just send you an invoice at the end of the month? And she said, oh, no, I'll pay you today. And I was expecting either the cash or the check. She's 95. Well, she said, actually, do you do Zelle? And I looked at her and I said, what's a Zelle?
Oh.
like this was back in the day before it was just starting, and she was Johnny on the spot, and she wanted to pay me on Zelle. So I learned that day, how to set that up. And it was easy. It took just a couple minutes. She said, you put in your stuff. I never need to know your bank account number, nothing, just your cell phone number. And I was like, wow. So it makes it easier in a lot of respects. Then, if the children are paying the bills for their loved one, you may have things like Zelle, Venmo, PayPal. I want to write you a check and put it in the snail mail because it comes out of her trust account or his whatever account, or just cash on the spot. Okay, that's fine. As long as I've already set up those portals, I don't need to think about any of it.
Mm.
So I did it. I had already set up Zelle with my 95-year-old lovely woman who shared that with me. And then I set up Venmo and PayPal. And yes, people can still write me a check and put it in the mail the old-fashioned way if they would like to. And so um, then it becomes okay. How do I send an invoice to them in an efficient way? And so those folks who like to write the paper check probably are going to like to have a paper invoice. But I'm trying to save on postage and office supplies and all of that. So I say to them, can I email that invoice to you? You know, and they'll say, sure, you can do that, or text it to me or whatever. So now it's easy to get the stuff to them, and it's not costly to get the stuff to them. So that makes it easier. And then when they pay you, it either pops up on your phone as cha-ching, the money's in there, or there's a check coming in the mail. And there's very little of that still going on. I would say the most often I ever see a paper check these days is if there's a trust account and the child is paying a bill and they want it to come out of that account. But even then, it's becoming more and more automated. So it makes it easier and easier. So there's easy ways to get money coming in and easy ways to report the money going out. And that way we don't have to stress about the office portion of our job.
So to relieve some stress, let's say you have a new client. You make an appointment, it's all set, you're going to show up there Monday at 4 p.m. And whether the appointment was set by the senior or if it was set by their family, doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
You perform the service. How do you get paid? Do you get payment at the rendering of the service? Should you ask for it in advance? Well, could be uncomfortable. How long are you going to wait for it? Now you got to follow up and haven't been paid. And now they want to make another appointment. I could see that getting a little dicey. It's one thing when you establish the relationship and you have a rhythm and it's understood how that's all working. And it could be a different situation. Right. That woman right there, if she's into Zelle, she may Zelle. Hey, before you leave, Dawn, let me get you. So I don't forget. Let me Zelle you the money. What's the protocol for all of that?
Well, before we begin a relationship, the two things that happen is, one, I'm going to meet with the client, find out their medical intake information and so forth, so that we're doing good and never doing harm. Okay. And then we talk about the financial aspect, and we kind of iron that out before we even get them on the massage table or, visit the hospital room or what have you, wherever they are. And we just say, this is how it works. And, these are several payment methods. If you need the reminder, I'm happy to send you a reminder. And they might say, okay, thank you. Or, okay, I'm going to bring cash with me every time. Or, okay, my daughter does this. Here's her email address or her phone number. And once I get that contact established on how and who, how do I send it and who do I send it to, then that's done. And as you were saying, the old days of creating an invoice in Word, you could still do that today. You could even write a Post-it note and hand it to somebody. But the electronic programs that are available today, even the simplest ones, are wonderful. And like, for instance, the guy who handles my computers, I will call him and say, oh my gosh, Jonathan, help, something just happened on my screen or whatever. Well, he'll come and take care of it, or he'll do it remotely. And then I get this bill. And he doesn't have to touch, sending an invoice, nothing. Mm-hmm. He just pushes a few buttons on his phone and it sends a beautiful invoice already formatted with his company name, the address if you want to mail a check, yada, yada. So it's getting simpler and simpler. And I think that the massage therapists who are now up and coming, they're not in their 60s themselves, are way more comfortable with a cell phone in their hand and all the latest apps that you can use to make your job so much easier. So it's, yeah.
With the invoicing, I get a few invoices from people that use a certain app, and it's not QuickBooks. I'll share the name. It's called Wave app. And they have a free program on there, which I just brought it up here now in the pricing section, where you can create invoices and ask for payment. You can send, I get an email, and you can just click it and pay by credit card. You have an option to accept online payments. Now, of course, this is a sticky point. You're always going to pay this with a credit card transaction, roughly 3%. So you might want to factor that in your pricing, or be transparent and say, hey, you know what? If it's cash, or it's, if we're going to, a cash app like Zelle or Venmo, all good. However, if I'm going to run your credit card, then, there's going to be a fee there. And I'm looking here in one of their plans, which would make sense for most of us. It's like $200 a year.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think that's reasonable considering what what you're accomplishing. And it's the one portal for all your invoices, and you don't have to worry about stuff. You press a button, you send it out. It has accountability and all of that. I'm not pushing anything. I'm just repeating what I see.
Right. That's great to have an app name for people to go to. And I know there are, several out there.
There's a bunch of them.
And it's great to hear the name of one. And to know that even if when you set up the initial invoice that automatically goes to them, if you initially set it up with a line that says, if you pay by credit card, this is the percentage fee or whatever, that will be added, and it'll add it for you.
Yes.
So yeah, it's not so much of a bookkeeping nightmare as people think, or as it used to be, really. But just getting your mind around these different methods is the only hurdle to get over, and then you're good.
Yeah, just systems, making it easy, because your job is to go out there and be exposed to more people that you can provide the service to, as opposed to sitting there making a Word invoice, with there's no accountability. It's just a document.
Right.
And then you'd have to email it anyway, where this is one button. You've already put the information in there. And one thing here too, I guess, to be considered, most of this is never a one-off. It's not like you're going to get a call and do one massage for somebody. Could be, but more times than not, it's going to be on a regular basis, right? Yeah.
Yes. And since you just said that, here's one more little aspect that we can consider. If you want to work in a facility, assisted living, skilled nursing, retirement community, what have you, some of them are already so sophisticated with their physical therapy, massage therapy, whatever they offer, hair salon, toenail trimming, whatever it is, they allow their residents there to bill the services to their room, just like hotel, room service. And that can make it even easier. So if you're the kind of person who just does not want to deal with, how am I going to get that app on my phone? And how do I need an invoice? And what's my business name? I don't have a business name. Okay, you just need your name, Dawn Castiglione. Give it to the facility, and they can cut you a check monthly for all of the services that they received a little signing for. So you've got your little, sign-in form at your massage room. Person, you just say, here, just sign this so it says you showed up, and it'll be charged to your room. And that's kind of nice too, because then you receive one paycheck every month, and it includes everything you've done.
Beautiful. Wow. I never thought we'd ever be talking about this, given the line of work, geriatric massage, senior massage, but this is all important. And thankfully, because of COVID, things have changed. People have side hustles, and whereby back in the day, it's like, oh, you're starting a business. Oh, this is a big endeavor. You gotta, there's so many things to consider. now there's so much technology out there that it holds your
Yes.
hand, makes it easier.
Yes.
Same thing with the Zelle. And you know what?
Right.
More and more seniors embrace that,
Mhm.
which is fabulous. It makes communication a lot easier too.
Yeah, like I'm a senior right now. Hello,
I
And
don't want to
so-
admit it, but
so am I.
I'm way past AARP age. You know, the starting age of that. That's
Yeah.
long gone, long gone. But yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I guess the one little stickler regarding charging it to their room, I wanted to mention this too, is that they might say, well, then how do I if I'm plugged into a facility, do they have a rental fee on the room that I'm using?
Mm.
Okay. And so here's my answer to this. And they have never said that's not a good idea, Dawn. Might have a flat fee placed on the room rental. And I will say to that, would it be okay with you here at this facility if you took a percentage of each massage I performed
Mm.
towards the rent rather than saying, we charge you $800 a month, and if you don't have any massages that month, you still have to pay me $800. That's crazy, right?
Right, right.
So this way, if I have a good month, they have a good month. And if I have a slow month, I'm not paying for a room that I'm not using. And it makes it good for everybody because then they're going to promote their massage therapist and say, come on, guys, take advantage of him or her. We've got them right here on campus and it's so good for your health. So it's a win-win if you do it that way because they want the sales to go up because they want their good percentage.
One other thing I'm going to say, because this is part of the journey that I learned, don't undervalue yourself. Make
Yes.
sure the rates that you place are fair, but also fair to you. Just saying.
Right.
So many of us undercut ourselves because we want to get the business or we feel maybe it's too expensive. No. Ask around, find out, what the going rate is for this type of massage.
Mhm. And especially with this area of specialty, take into consideration that we're talking about safety of our elders.
Yep.
And, not only doing good things, but to not do detrimental things.
Love it. You teach this. You can do it virtually for anybody anywhere. You've had students around the world. You're in California, but it can be done anywhere and different levels as well. How do we connect with you?
Okay, well, hop onto our website, which is daybreak-massage.com. There is a contact us page on the website, a lot of other great information on other pages, but just drop us a line and contact us, and I will personally call you back and walk you through whatever questions you have and how you can get signed up. You can just register on the email or on the website as well. If you already know you just want to do this, let's do it and pick a date.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing. Hands-on and accountability. This is not some autopilot online course. This is direct connection to you at all times with
Yes,
this.
the virtual classrooms are fantastic because you don't have to spend money on travel,
Yep.
hotel, transportation, meals. You can just sit in the privacy of your home and accomplish the lecture portion live because I'm like with you right now, sitting here just chatting away on a live Zoom call. And then when it comes time to hands-on, you need to have your volunteer, you need to have your massage table. I need to be able to see what you're doing. Class size is small, so we're really getting good quality time together. And it's sometimes even better than being in person from some aspects because you get a front row seat to whatever I'm demonstrating.
Yeah.
As opposed to, a class full of 20 people and they're in the back row and they're looking, what did she do with the foot? Let me go walk up there. So it's almost even better in some respects. So, hop on the website, take a look if you want to come in person or if you want to do it virtual. I'm happy to help.
This is the way it should be. Dawn, thank you. It should be for everything that involves instruction.
Nice.
Thank you so much for the insight today. Truly appreciate it. And we'll talk soon.
This is the Global Podcast Network. where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.